I'm James Heaney, and this is Brief News Brief. Look at that new logo. It's incredible. If you send us fan art at Brief News Brief on Twitter, I promise you it will at least get a splash screen. Even if it's only a fraction of the incredibleness of this new logo. This is what we're going to use for a logo. Credit goes out to some guy. Yup, on Twitter. Some guy, yup. Anyhow, we've got to get to the news. That's what this show is all about. China this week flew a nuclear-capable plane over the South China Sea. And the thing is I got to kind of debunk it. It's not really nuclear-capable because China doesn't have aerial nuclear weapons, period. But it's still a pretty aggressive stance to take this week. But it's in response to something. Oh, China. China, China, China. Trump is getting into the ring with China. You may have heard last week or the week before, it's hard to keep track of this whole Trump world because it's moving so quick. But he took a call from Taiwan. So a few red flags went up from a few people and they started shouting about, Trump, what's the deal? Don't you know we don't recognize Taiwan as a country? And it was like this big question of whether or not Trump realizes what he did was uncustomary, or does he know it and he's doing it anyways? Trump brushed it off and said, yeah, I took the call. I get lots of calls. Well, on Sunday on Fox News, Trump said that the Chinese should be willing to make a deal if they don't want the United States to restore relations with Taiwan. He says he gets the one China policy, but if China wants to keep that on the table, then Trump wants more. He wants more. He says, China, you be hurting us. This is tough talk to China. Well, China called him as ignorant as a child. China's mad. China's upset. Don't mess with the one China policy. This could really rock the boat. China's talking deal breaker breakup. We're talking like not complicated on Facebook, but just simply unrelated on Facebook, like a complete cutoff. Trump just might want to rattle China, but we're only guessing that because we don't know his policies. We don't know what Trump wants. But this deal's been standing since 1979, and it's been the standard ever since. The China-Taiwan issue is a hot issue right now out there in China, and the stakes are high. China has an apparent stranglehold on the U.S. economy. Essentially, they could pull economic sanctions that might have massive impact on the economy of the United States, or it might not have any impact. It's really hard to tell. It's very complicated. China is Iran's top trading partner. But outside of economy, China could also conduct joint military exercises with Kim Fatty III, North Korea. Now, I don't know for a fact, but I think they have nuclear weapons that are aerial, making that show of flying that plane maybe more important. I don't know. You're going to have to look that up yourself because I didn't do the research. We can all have a sigh of relief. We thought that there was going to be another general in Trump's cabinet, but things seem to be changing. Rex Tillerson is expected to be announced as Secretary of State this week in the incoming Trump administration. There has been some bipartisan pushback from this, even from the Republicans. I mean, that's what makes it bipartisan, because Russia and Rex have some ties. Rex and Putin go way back to if you have friends in second grade, it's longer than that ago. Okay? Rex was working with Russia before he was CEO of Exxon. In fact, he became CEO because he's got super cool hookups in Russia. He has a friendship medal. It's like a friendship bracelet or like one of those heart things, the necklace. But this one is more military style, and he got it from Russia. He's like BFF with Putin. And Exxon stands to make billions and billions and billions of dollars. That's billions to the third if sanctions are lifted on Russia somehow. We don't know how it would happen. Who would ever be able to raise these sanctions? But nonetheless, ExxonMobil has a lot of money to gain if those sanctions are lifted. But what is it with Trump and Putin? Like every day the news is like, Trump loves Putin. Trump loves Putin more than you can imagine. It's more than a slap on the ass. It might be a stinky pinky. Okay? Now, the Republican Party Mitt Romney and John McCain, they're well-known nemesis with Russia. And many more Republicans have gone off the record as super not thrilled with this Tillerson rumor. There's a lot of opposition out there. But Trump loves Putin. Baby, it's cold outside. But what about global warming? It's just a liberal ploy. It's cold in the U.S., all right? There is an Arctic blast coming into the Midwest over here in places like Chicago and Madison, and it's going to feel like it's in the single digits. It's going to move towards the coast in the Northeast. This is expected to make an Arctic plunge. Cold, cold, cold. Global warming, what? You guys are crazy. I'm with Trump. Well, there's a new study in Nature Climate Change that found a very large ice sheet in East Antarctica. This ice shelf is this thick, it's this like thick floating platform of ice that forms where a glacier or ice sheets flow down a coastline onto ocean surfaces. I'm not your science teacher, I'm just a news guy, okay? But they found 55 lakes in total on the ice shelf sandwiched between the surface of the ice shelf and its base. So let me just break this down. Imagine this. You've got an ice cube. It's teeny tiny. Okay, this ice cube is the size of a lake. There's 55. This ice cube has 55 lakes on it. Those are little tiny puddles. Those are melting ice. It's diluting your gin and tonic. Now, when these ice shelves fall apart, the glacial ice behind them flows more rapidly into the ocean. We're talking desalinization and finally raising sea levels. So finally, the good news is I no longer have to walk 2 blocks to the ocean. Soon it'll be right outside my door. It's poll tally time. First off, do you care whether or not Russia is messing with our elections? It's 50-50. It's undecided. I don't even know what to say about that. I'm not going to tell you what I voted, but I'll tell you what I voted for the next thing. I said, no, I don't want to order from a robot at a fast food restaurant. 80% of you said yes. Are you crazy? This is the first days of the wars against the machines. I go and don't take escalators or elevators. I take the stairs because I'm not relying on any gosh darn robots. So the new polls. I almost forgot one. This has been on my mind a lot. What will Meatloaf not do for love? It's butt stuff. It's simple as that. He would do anything for love, but not butt stuff. The new polls. Is it cold outside? I'm going to tell you the true answer that I'm going to give. No, I'm in Venice. Sorry. And secondly, what does "it's complicated" mean on Facebook? I mean, I've been confused every time I've read it. And lastly, is it time to renegotiate the One China deal? There is a saying that maybe this is a standard. We've had this standard for over 30 years. And then there's another side of the coin of this setup is 30 years old. It's time to have a new negotiation. Where do you stand?